good old Tuesday on National Public Radio, so we go back almost 2 decades, and it's quite the surprise to be here today sharing a stage with you. So, enough about us.
Well, thank you very much. Our job here tonight as co-MCs is to make sure you have fun. And also we honor our rich heritage. As you look around the history of Asian Minnesotans, we have many shades, but we share one vision. And at the end of the day, we are still a minority in a state that we are constantly working to be recognized and to bring our concerns in government, in local agencies. And so thank you all for being here. We're here to celebrate what we share in common, that is that vision. So.
And I guess I just want to take a moment at this time to actually ask each one of you to take a moment and breathe and to be in this space and to be present. Because I don't know about all of you, but having traveled and been born in Laos and having traveled as a refugee all over the place and searching for that home, it is amazing to now be here and to be present and to not be running and not to be searching for a home. And the people at your table, they are your defenders. They are your supporters, and they are the people who are going to have your back in this state. So please, take a moment, acknowledge deeply the people who are around you, because this is what tonight is about. Knowing who you're with, feeling, understanding that the people here, they're watching out for you. Take that.
Thanks for that reminder, tonight at your tables, you'll have a dinner program, also a timeline highlighting the key events leading up to the Japanese internment on the mainland. It's a historic year, so please take a second to read through those brochures. At this time, we also want to honor some of our special guests or our representatives, elected officials in the House.
But actually, before we do that, we have one housekeeping thing. Is someone with a BMW truck has their lights on.
This is so Asian. I'm surprised it's not a Toyota.
Someone with a BMW truck 595 JNC. Your lights are on. We want to make sure that you get home tonight. So.
The next thing we're going to announce is someone lost a little baby who ran around, lost his mom and dad, and now we'd like to have them come up and claim their baby, right? I hear that every year at the Hmong New Year. Okay, and now for our elected officials.
I'd like to ask the members of the legislature on the council board to please stand. There are 4 of you. Please hold your applause until we finish announcing all the names, because we have a number of folks. Representative Joanne Ward, Representative Rod Hamilton, Senator Carolyn Lane, Senator Roger Chamberlain, please stand. Members of the Minnesota House of Representatives, Representative John Lesh, Representative Rena Moran, Representative Lori Halverson, Representative Tim Mahoney, Representative Matt Dean, Representative Mary Kunesh Podine, Representative Karen Clark.
And now the members of the Minnesota Senate, Senator Mary Kiffmeyer, Senator Fong He, Senator Dan Hall, Senator David Sangjum, Senator Sandy Pappas, Senator Melissa Oakland, Senator John Hoffman, Senator Bruce Anderson, and Senator Susan Kent.
Members of the Governor's Cabinet, Commissioner Dave Fredrickson, Commissioner Kevin Lindsay, and Assistant Commissioner Alice Roberts Davis.
We have a Minnesota National Guard Major General John Jensen.
He is the incoming 31st Adjutant General. Thank you, sir, for coming.
Ramsey County Commissioners Jim McDonough and City of Maplewood Mayor Nora Slavin. Thank you for joining us. Continue to eat. Your salad plates are preset, so continue to eat. We will also, at this time, if you can rise for the color guard, please. Color post.
Thank you. You may take your seat. At this time, I'd like to call up Mr. David Maeda, the Council Board Chair of the Asian Pacific Council. Mr. Maeda.
Thank you very much for being here today. I think we have a nice program planned for you this evening. My name is David Maeda, and it's been a great privilege to serve as a board member of the Council of Asian Pacific Minnesotans for the past 3 years, and in 2017 as its chair. We're here tonight to honor and hear from a great group of leaders in our communities, and I'm absolutely in awe of their contributions and accomplishments. We're also here to commemorate 2 significant anniversaries. The first being the 50th anniversary of the Minnesota Department of Human Rights. We're blessed to have here tonight one of the great leaders of our state, Commissioner Kevin Lindsay, who you'll hear from later. We're also here to recognize this is the 75th anniversary of President Franklin Roosevelt signing an executive order that led to the incarceration of over 120,000 Japanese Americans, including my father's family at the beginning of World War II. Our keynote speaker tonight, the Honorable Judge Jamie Court, will share her thoughts and insights and lessons to be learned from that historic event. The theme of tonight's dinner is Toward a More Perfect Union, and I ask all of you to think about what that really means. All of us in this room, and in this country, and in the state of Minnesota, want a place to feel at home. We all have our own personal stories that define how close we are to feeling that sense of union. I wanted to take a few moments to share a personal story and say a few words about my father, Donald Maeda, who passed away this past January at the age of 92. The loss of my dad has weighed heavy on me this year. When I was growing up, my dad often talked about his life in the internment camp is like being in a summer camp. As a teenage boy, it was about wasting time with a group of friends. But the thing that stuck with him that made him realize the gravity of the situation he was in was he had just bought his first car. Dad had a lifelong love of cars and driving cars. He was forced to give up his first car because he obviously couldn't bring it with him to the internment camp. he gave his car to a friend who graciously visited Dad at the camp but would have to park the car outside the barbed wire fence. Dad said this made him very sad, seeing his car, his gateway to freedom, within reach but out of his grasp. Throughout his life, Dad had a lot of questions about the world around him. In the end, the questions became more and more philosophical. There were questions about the promises of our country, both delivered and broken, questions about the concepts of freedom and the place you find yourself in at any given time that can truly be called a home. What is a home? Whether you have survived a refugee experience, or you are an immigrant to our country, or you were born here in the United States, what do you consider your true home? Is it based on geography, your birthplace, the place you dream of at night, the place where you feel accepted and loved? This is a question I've asked myself ever since my one and only trip to Japan about 20 years ago. There was a day midweek when I found myself in the middle of downtown Tokyo's subway station during rush hour with waves and waves of people coming and going and trying to catch the train that would take them to their home. I've never seen so many people in my life in one place at one time. And then I noticed a strange feeling. It was a foreign feeling of calm and peace. If this same scene had played out in a subway station in New York City or Chicago or Washington, D.C., I would have freaked out, being one who doesn't do well in large groups of people. Why was I feeling this strange sense of being calm? I realized for one of the few times in my life I fit in. I looked like the people around me. I blended into the mass of humanity. Back home in Minnesota, this has seldom been the case. In grade school, junior high, and high school, I was one of the few racial minorities in my class. In my workplaces, this has also been true. I hadn't realized subconsciously how much this has always played on my mind. Walking into a room of people and feeling like you immediately stick out because you look different presents a conceptual wall against a feeling of inclusion. I'm sure that's something many of you in this room know something about. In the end, our home is where we allow ourselves to feel comfortable, a place where we can be our authentic selves. Hopefully, we all will find this place. To finish Dad's story, in 1988, Congress passed the Civil Liberties Act in 1988. This law provided reparations to the Japanese American citizens who had been interned. My dad got a check for $20,000 and an apology letter from President Ronald Reagan. My dad wasn't much for irony, and I'm not sure how much convincing he had to do with my mom, but he decided to spend his check on a brand new Honda. And I'm sure all the while, his mind flashed back to his very first car parked outside the barbed wire fence. I'll leave you with words from the 2016 Nobel Prize Literature winner, Minnesota-born Bob Dylan, who's going to perform here next week. Mr. Dylan once wrote, "A hero is someone who understands the responsibility that comes with his freedom." In other words, we shouldn't wait until we lose our freedom before we appreciate it and understand its significance. Today is the third day of Diwali, the Hindu festival of light. It is a day to celebrate new beginnings and the triumph of good over evil, light over darkness. So I wish you a very happy Diwali, and I hope you all enjoy our program today. Thank you.
Thank you, David, for that very personal and powerful story. As David said, tonight is about working towards a more perfect union. 75 years ago, on February 19th, 1942, just over 2 months after Pearl Harbor and the declaration of war, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9066. This order paved the way for the internment of Japanese Americans, citizens and immigrants alike in the continental United States. Citizens like David's dad. 50 years ago, on May 25th, 1967, the state of Minnesota established the Department of Human Rights to succeed the State Commissioner Against Discrimination. Procedures were established with the intent of using the tools of investigation, public hearings, conciliation, and a process of appeal to reduce discrimination. These anniversaries, two contrasting reactions of government, provide the backdrop of this year's Asian Pacific Minnesotans Leadership Awards dinner. We ask, can the American motto, E pluribus unum, out of many, one, be achieved? How have we, in the past and present, gone about achieving this one nation out of many states, many cultures and many heritages? Can we maintain and improve upon this model into the future? Thank you very, very much for joining us tonight on this evening of fellowship, recognition, and introspection as we use these two distinct and significant historical events to launch a discussion of our place as Asian Pacific Minnesotans in 2017 and beyond. Thank you.
Dinner will start soon. Right before dinner, we will have entertainment from the Hafoka Family Dance Group. So, and dinner will start momentarily.
These are Tahitian dancers, and this family is from Maplewood. So again, a warm welcome for the Hafoka family. Thank you again. That was the Hafoka family from Maplewood. And at this point, please enjoy your dinner. We will be right back. Enjoy.
No, it's just a week long strategic planning session. That's all it is.
dinner tonight.
I do care about that promise. It might just be 7 a.m. order with the slideshow of the beach. 3 bullet points on your slide. How wants to be you. I was babysitting the whole time. I had to watch her. I just let her run in between the tables.
So our daughter's name is Ricky. She went to the last She's a celebrity that has staff. They don't know her. They're like, your child. Like, she was really happy. She started walking. She's short. Yes. She started walking at about a month.
I got a babysitter. Higher than that. Yeah, because she's also doing her master's program in early childhood education. Makes some extra budgets. Allowing us to get out of the house.
Go with you?
Yeah.
Like getting just once a week, right?
This is our five-hour grand date night. It's a trio.
You didn't have to work too hard about this, right?
I know, I was like, oh,
I don't know if I had a choice.
that's I'm like, now I might have it as a staff.
It's all good. I know Val really well. So.
I invite that guy to work till 6, right?
I like your husband. I should have used that one. No, it's all good. Okay, I couldn't get out of it. I work from home, so I would have just been like, you don't work till 6, you work from here. Just pull you out. So I work for an e-commerce website out in California. I do all their data analytics. Run their marketing program. So yeah, I grew up in Southern Minnesota. Makes a lot of sense.
We both don't want to do farming. My family has like 10 acres, which they wish they had struggled.
Well, my dad used to raise livestock plus cash crops. He used to raise like ox was his favorite. I don't know why he liked pigs. Very bad. His favorite, but he quit doing that maybe. My husband's